Hey everyone, welcome to The Spot. I'm Asa Rehman. I hope you're doing well. It is another tight turnaround between game weeks 22 and 23. I'll do my usual preview, talking about each of the fixtures in the match week. Then I will reveal my waiver 11 for game week 23. And please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. All right, we'll get to the waiver 11 a little bit later on. First, let's talk about the key fantasy players from each fixture for each club. And I'll be looking at their 4-game average from the previous 4 matches instead of the form rating that the FPL site uses, which looks at all games in the past 30 days. All right, let's get to it. Aston Villa and Arsenal features two teams trying to bounce back from disappointing defeats. Jack Grealish continues to be the best fantasy option for his side, averaging 6.5 in his last 4, and forward Ollie Watkins is inching closer to a double-digit goal total. 3 goals in his last 4 matches pushes his total to 9. Arsenal's young guns continue to fire. Bukayo Saka is averaging 6 points despite missing the Manchester United match entirely, and Nicolas Pepe scored for the second time in 3 matches. It also marked the first time he's played more than a half in 3 straight games. Burnley and Brighton are both barely above the bottom. Bears beats Battlestar Galactica. Nick Pope is happy to be done with the 4-game stretch of Liverpool, Villa, Chelsea, and City. He's averaged 4.75 fantasy points in that span, and the team's attacking options have been decimated by injury. Jay Rodriguez has seen an increase in playing time recently, but is still searching for his first goal of the season. It won't be easy against a stingy Brighton defense led by Lewis Dunk. They've recorded 4 straight clean sheets, including a 1-0 win over Liverpool on the weekend. Leandro Trossard grabbed an assist in that match and is averaging 5.5 fantasy points in his last 4. Newcastle and Southampton, not sure what to make of Newcastle these days. Callum Wilson got an assist in their 2-1 loss to Crystal Palace. He's easily their best fantasy option right now, especially since Alan St. Maximin still isn't starting. He's played less than 30 minutes in each of their last 4 games. Southampton is just wanting to move on from that 9-0 defeat. James Ward-Prowse is apparently not allowed to come off the pitch for any reason at any point this season. He's played a full 90 in every game so far, but he hasn't scored in 11 straight. And Danny Ings is far from his goal total of 22 last season. He's been sitting at 7 for the last 4 matches. Fulham versus West Ham now. Ademola Lookman is still Fulham's best outfield player, averaging 3.5 in his last 4, and Alexander Mitrovic has started the last 2 matches and has a chance to establish himself once again as the lead frontman for Fulham. For West Ham, Thomas Souček scored again. He now has 8 goals and is averaging 6.75 in his last 4. And Antonio got 2 assists in the 3-1 win over Aston Villa in an 8-point performance. And Manchester United players enjoyed a nice fantasy point boost after a 9-0 win over Southampton. Aaron Wan-Bissaka got 17 points in that game with a goal and an assist. Bruno Fernandes also getting a goal and an assist and 17 points. The massive return moved Fernandes to top spots in the fantasy point rankings. Everton's Dominic Calvert-Lewin snapped a 8-game goalless drought. He's averaging 3.25 in his last 4, the same as Lucas Digne, who got an assist in their previous match. Now to Tottenham and West Brom. Tanguy and Ndombele and the Spurs attack is hoping to get back on track after failing to score in the last 2, and Son Heung-min is still struggling without Harry Kane. He's in his worst form of the season. His 4-game average is down to 2.75. West Brom's Matheus Pereira is still boasting a strong average of 6.25 despite a single point against Sheffield United in their last match. Callum Robinson is their second best fantasy option, but is averaging just 1.5 in his last 4. Now to Wolves and Leicester. Pedro Neto earned an assist in their last match and now has 4 goals and 6 helpers so far this season. Meanwhile, Willian José played 90 minutes in each of the last 2 matches and grabbed an assist for earning a penalty in their last match. Meanwhile, for Leicester, James Maddison is still in fine form. His 11 points against Fulham boosts his 4-game average to 6.5, and defender James Justin is now the Foxes' highest-scoring defender after getting 15 points in their last match. Liverpool and Man City, it's the best fixture of the game week. Mo Salah followed up a 2-goal, 15-point outing against West Ham with a blank against Brighton. But Andrew Robertson has been more disappointing for fantasy owners. He scored exactly 2 points in the past 4 straight. And in rotational recognition of City's defenders, this week we'll focus on Ruben Diaz. He's been in each of their last 6 consecutive clean sheets. And Raheem Sterling has scored in 3 of their last 5 matches, averaging 5.5 in their last 4. Sheffield United and Chelsea, now this is an opportunity to come clean, right some wrongs, and create some good fantasy karma. Both Billy Sharp and Jayden Bogle are players that I've poked fun at in previous videos, and they both scored in their previous match. Feels good to get that off my chest. For Chelsea, Cesar Azpilicueta has been a regular since Thomas Tuchel took over, and Callum Hudson-Odoi seems to be in Tuchel's plans going forward as well. He's averaging 3.75 in his last 4. And finally, Leeds versus Crystal Palace. Rafinha has quickly become one of the hottest fantasy players in the league. Yeah, not many people realizing he has 3 goals in his last 6, averaging 7.25 in his last 4. And Patrick Bamford has 11 goals and 8 assists this season after getting another assist in their last match. For Crystal Palace, Eberechi Eze has quietly become a consistent fantasy producer with a 5.5 average in his last 4. Defender Patrick Van Aanholt started the last 2 matches and has decent upside for some offensive production. He might feature in the Waiver 11 coming up soon. And one of the things I haven't done in any of the recent videos is gone over trade scenarios. So if you have any trade questions, feel free to fire them into the comments below or hit me up on Twitter at @thespot4ff. All right, now let's find out who made the Waiver 11 for Game Week 23. We'll start with the keeper, and I'm going back to Robert Sanchez, and why not? The Brighton keeper has earned 4 straight clean sheets, and that's also why I'm starting with Lewis Dunk for my defenders. He was on the pitch for all 4 of those games. Next, Vladimir Soufal has a good matchup against Fulham and has 4 assists so far this season. Then I'll go with my guy, Patrick Van Aanholt. He's got to come through eventually, right? Didn't get any return last round, but I'm trusting my eyes, going with my gut on this one. We'll see how it plays out. And Ben White takes my 4th defender spot. Looks like I'm all in on another Brighton clean sheet. For midfielders, Nicolas Pepe is my first selection, and I feel great about it. No hesitation taking the midfielder who has started the last 3 and scored in 2 of those. Jorginho is my second pick because he appears to be a Tuchel regular and is trusted to take penalties once again. He converted from the spot in their win over Tottenham, earning 11 points. And then Gylfi Sigurdsson scored in his last game, so he gets a spot on the squad. And I'm going back to Ayoze Perez. I like that he continues to see an advanced role in Jamie Vardy's absence over at Leicester. Up top, I'm going to test out Alexander Mitrovic and see if he can get a goal against West Ham and partner him with Kelechi Iheanacho, who scored his first goal of the season in a 90-minute performance. On the bench, Aaron Ramsdale, back to the bench you go, Willy Boley, Callum Robinson, and I'm taking a stab at Steven Alzate to round out my bench. That's the Waiver 11. And I'm really hoping that this Waiver 11 performs better than the last one, but it's out of my hands now. It's up to the players. Hopefully they perform for me. All right, that wraps up the Game Week 23 preview show. I have some really exciting videos coming up this month, so make sure you subscribe to the channel and ding the bell so you don't miss any of it. Thanks so much for hanging out at The Spot.